Oh, okay. I was,
Greetings, everyone. Wonderful to see some new guests here. My name is Chris Nibby. I am honored to be your Toastmaster today. And to start things off, I would like everyone to look to your right and wave to Mary. She is our area director and is visiting us today. And she is encouraging good behavior with chocolate in the back of the room.
Chris,
Yeah,
may I have a few moments? Can I
absolutely.
a few comments to make?
Before or after?
Please, before, to explain the chocolate.
Everyone, will you please welcome Mary Peters?
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our distinguished guests, who I don't know who you are, but if you are, thank you for coming. I'm the area director, which means I am over 4 clubs in our area, Area 54. And your club was the first to achieve distinguished club status this year. That's part of the reason for the chocolate cupcakes. I wanted to congratulate you on that, as well as you are the only club who has conducted the Moments of Truth, or are in process of conducting the Moments of Truth program. Thank you so much. You continue to excel in all you do. For those of you who are guests, I want you to know I have a special bias in my heart for Mayo High-Nooners. They are an excellent, well-organized, very good group for you to join if you so desire. Thank you, Mr. Joseph.
Mary has spent several years here and now is out with the Lunch Bunch,
Lunch Bunch, yes.
and that is out at Superior
Mayo Support Center.
Male Support Center.
Yep.
Thank you. So if you ever are out there, give her club and her members a good try.
Or if you have friends who are out there, talk to them about coming to Toastmasters Day.
Absolutely. So she mentioned guests, and I would love to take this opportunity to welcome you, and if you so desire, if you could give us your name and how you heard of us and what you would like to know or experience here. Would you mind going first?
Sure. My name is Caroline Chapman, and I work with Brand at the Center for Innovation. So we kind of like discussed early on our project what we want to focus on, and I mentioned kind of presenting in front of groups and maybe just gaining some more confidence. So I'm Norwegian, and I've been there about a year. So this is a good opportunity to learn, see what you're doing, and maybe join the club. So
Thank you very much.
thanks for having me.
I have the honor of meeting another one in the elevator on the way up here.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kaustubh, and I work at the Center for Individualized Medicine in the Biomarker Discovery Group. And I heard, like, one of my friends recommended me about Toastmasters. And since, I do a lot of presentations and those kind of things, so I would like to improve on my presentation skills, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get down to it. Toastmasters is a great way to expand our vocabulary and expand on our confidence. And to help us along the way, we have a grammarian. Please welcome Courtney on down here.
Fellow Toastmasters, Mr. Toastmaster, and our honored guests. My name is Courtney Clapperich, and I will be your grammarian for today. Part of my role is to introduce a new word of the day, and I will also be looking for some speech connectors, or so, one always gets me, some unnecessary fillers as well, like I mentioned, picturesque or eloquent phrases during the speeches, and filler words again. The word of the day, I am very partial to this particular word. It brings up a really good memory that I love to share with you. The word of the day is supercilious. It's an adjective, and it's haughtily disdainful or contemptuous as a person or a facial expression. And I have a lovely story for the facial expression. My mom and I are very close, and we talk all the time. And less than highly intelligent, I always make a certain face. And as soon as I read the description of haughtily disdainful or contemptuous, I knew exactly what face it was. And so if somebody will say something and I always say, this is perfect. So supercilious is the word of the day, haughtily disdainful or contemptuous. As a person, or facial expression. As a person, I would love to demonstrate this with a sentence. The supercilious technologist would not change the trash as he thought that was beneath him. May or may not have experience with this. I just thought you would be able to relate to this in your everyday lives, changing trash. Thank you.
How many points or credits do we get for an action of the day now? Some people. Okay, with that, now I would love to introduce our timer to help us keep us on track. Tanya.
Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, today I will be your timer. Those who are giving speeches today have asked for 6 to 8 minutes or 5 to 7 minutes for their speeches. They will get the green card when they have hit their first goal, the lower number, 5 or 6 minutes. When they get to within 1 minute left in their time in their speech, they'll get a yellow card and a yellow light in the back. When they get to their final time, either 8 or 7 minutes, I will hold up the red card and the red light. And I will refrain from giving them a supercilious look if they go a minute over their time. But instead, what I will do is give them a little buzz. Buzz, buzz. Next, we will have the table topic speakers, and they would get to speak for 1 minute. So at 1 to 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, they'll get the green card and the green light. At 1.5 minutes, they'll see the yellow card and the yellow light. And at 2 minutes, they will see the red card and the red light. Then we have the evaluators. When the evaluators come up, they have 2 to 3 minutes to give their evaluation of these wonderful speeches we're going to hear today. At 2 minutes, they will see the green card and the green light. At 2.5 minutes, they will see the yellow light and the yellow card. And at 3 minutes, they will see the red card. And no supercilious looks will be cast their way because I know they will be perfectly timed. Thank you.
We have many roles to fill, and every one of them for our guests is meant to make us more confident and stronger speakers. One of our favorite, and my favorite anyway, and one of our stronger speakers is Amit. He is going through his confident. I am so sorry. I was getting a supercilious or very confused look from my members. Joe Sharp is another much respected member, and he would, I'm sure, love to share some inspiration and throw in a little humor. Please welcome Joe Sharp.
Maybe we should have asked Amit to talk. I wanted to tell the story about a widow who recently widowed, who wanted to have a eulogy for her husband, ex-husband, deceased husband. So she went to the chief preacher in town and said, "Would you please write a eulogy for my ex-husband?" "Oh," he said, "I'd be very happy to. For $200, I will write such a thrilling eulogy. People will remember him and be inspired by him all over the whole city for 10 years. Well, she said, "I'm afraid that's too much money." Well, he said, "For $100, I could give a less fancy speech, but of course I'll remember his virtues and his endearing traits." She said, "No, I'm afraid that's too much money. All I want to spend is $15. $15, man? Why, for that amount
Okay, back on, as sure as would be, as soon as I put down my agenda, I would throw everything off, so my apologies to Joe. I'm sure he'll forgive me. Now may I get on to Amit, our first speaker. If I'm not mistaken, you are going back through your Confident Communicator Manual. He is working on his vocal variety again. He is a master of speaking, a master of the stage, and he would like to let us know what his lessons are from martial arts. So Amit has asked for 6 to 8 minutes. Vocal variety, what lessons learned from martial arts?
Kurye! Juliet! Sunji! Sitak! These were the Korean words which I learned. Which says, are you ready? Take a bow. Get your stance. Go. Mr. Toastmaster, Madam Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. In the year 2000, just to take care of my distinguished belly, both for mine and my son, my wife suggested that I go and join the Park Institute of Taekwondo. We did show up there. I was there for the next 4 years, battling with the best. My son, however, stayed there for the next 11 years and ended up with a 3rd-degree black belt. There are 3 essential lessons which I learned during the time I was there. I will tell you how it helped me to negotiate the crowdy waters in the Mayo Clinic. The first lesson was to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. So because of my junior rank when I joined, I was battling with the elementary school kids in the last line. We were all trying to get in the line. But all the elementary school kids had a different definition of the line. A 4th grader looked at us and said, "Get in line right now!" I was from India. I was trained by the British. I knew how to take orders. I absolutely stood in line and I saw everybody followed. A few days later, same 4th grader looked at me and said, "I've been watching you for the last 3 days. Your hands and your feet don't coordinate. You don't to get the forms right. Look at this." And she demonstrated the forms to me. Then she looked at me and said, "Practice it 100 times and you get it better." And I did practice it. There was a rule in Dojang, which is the arena for Taekwondo. Respect your senior ranks. She was senior to me, so I had to respect her. The second thing which I learned from martial arts was that you got to be malleable and flexible to be in life. So our instructors made us do all these drills, kicking drills, roundhouse drills, and I say the Broadway show drills, which means kicking in unison. Everybody's leg has to go. Well, for most, the legs went up to 120 and 160 degrees. Mine would not budge beyond 90. I tried, it did not. Very often, the upper part of my body was so tired, it wouldn't talk with the lower part. It looked like 2 angry twins. Between all the push-ups and pull-ups, life was tough. I was getting disgusted. I went and asked the instructor, "You really think this will help me?" He says, "Yes, it will. Watch out. That's how you build your stamina." And he gave me a big pat with his calloused hand in the back. Ah! So I realized that's you got to be flexible. Kept doing it. The third thing which I learned was how to survive a sparring session. Oh my God. One of my sparring sessions was with this 180-pound, muscled, ripped, absolutely V-shaped guy who spoke little and apologized even less for inflicting torture. And to make it worse, I had to wear a pad which had a central round red part which told my opponent where to inflict maximum punishment. I went and checked. A direct You know the Chuck Norris kick? A Texas Ranger? 150 pounds. You don't have to be super serious about it. So the public was ready. Here's a Mayo doctor going to fight this newly coming Russian immigrant who has recently had a dislike for the American flag. So the guy took on to be his charge man. I started dodging and thing. People were ready for a great fight. I was ready for the speedy flight. I somehow survived it. By dodging him and all that. After the end he says, "Good fight. See you again next time." I said, "Yes, thank you very much." So what did I learn from the 3 lessons which I talked about, which has helped me in Mayo Clinic? In Mayo Clinic, I learned to be a leader, you have to be a follower. I've learned to take orders from people much junior to me. I have seen some of my senior colleagues struggle with that. "Oh, this PhD from MIT thinks he's smarter than me. I've stayed here for 30 years. If that person is senior to you in rank, doesn't matter what the age is. He or she is your boss. So I accept that. I've done quite well. Second thing which I heard is about the talents. Be malleable and flexible. Oh my God, with the new EMR coming, I am so grateful I had the martial arts experience. Center of Individualized Medicine, you guys are up our throats. Center of Innovation, you spank us, you find us new ways of varying different things. You have to be flexible. Really helps me in negotiating the rough water in Mayo Clinic. The third part is how to survive one of those sessions. Very important in this change. I have learned never insult anybody, never inflict so much pain on your opponent, whoever it might be, that they lose face. They will come back and hurt you. I did give the Russian a couple of good kicks, which you remember. So he hurt me more. I did. Even a cat which is cornered will jump at you. So remember that. I also learned that if somebody is stronger than you, you can evade their energies. You can dodge like this, like Michael Jackson does. Or you can frustrate them. If you can't convince them, frustrate them. Frustrate them. It really works. So finally what I learned from the 3 lessons is respect your senior ranks. Be malleable and flexible. Learn every day, like we do in Toastmasters, learning new skills. And the number 3 things is learn how to negotiate in a change, how to survive in adverse conditions. Mr. Toastmasters.
I can't help but our speaker number 2 is a statistician here with Mayo Clinic. She is in one of her advanced manuals, Speaking to Inform. She has asked for 5 to 7 minutes to give us a very exciting talk with an exclamation point about margin of error. Please welcome Sarah Jenkins.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. We're going to bring it down a notch from our previous speech on. There's an exclamation point there, though, for a reason. It's going to be exciting. And I'm going to stay back here so just to mimic what I do. This isn't part of my intro, so in your evaluation, just decide. It's polling season right now. If you haven't noticed, there's a pretty big election coming up here in the United States. And everybody wants to know who the next president's going to be. How do we determine that? With polls, lots and lots of political polls. My parents, who live in Iowa, can tell you all about polls. Their phone has been ringing off the hook in the months preceding the caucuses. And how do we know if the results are accurate from the polls? In part with the margin of error. we are gonna dig a little bit deeper into that today in my speech. First, a disclaimer. I'm in no way endorsing any political party or presidential candidate. This is purely for entertainment and educational purposes. I'm gonna pick on Stacy. Suppose you go out, Stacy, and you interview or poll 100 of your closest Republican colleagues, assuming you have no trouble finding 100 Republican colleagues, and you ask them, how many of you support Trump? Suppose 40 of them come back and say that they support Trump. According to your poll, the percentage of Republicans of your friends who support Trump is 40%. How close is that to the truth? What exactly is the truth? The truth, if we could ask everybody in the United States, every Republican, if they support Trump, and figure that out, then we would know the truth, but obviously that's very infeasible, that's hard to do. That's precisely why we take samples and we take polls to figure that out. And when we report our result, we need to give some idea of confidence in our result. In Stacy's poll, we may have underestimated things by about 10 percentage points, or we may have overestimated things by 10%. And this distance, plus or minus, is equal to the margin of error. And for a percentage, that's approximately equal to 1 divided by the square root of n, where n is our sample size. That's about as mathy as this is going to get, so you can all relax. The real formula is actually a little more complicated than this, but this is an approximate value for that. In our situation, we have 100 people we are asking, and the margin of error ends up being plus or minus 10 percentage points. Taken together, this gives us what's called a 95% confidence interval. How many of you have heard confidence interval before in terms? Okay, good. And the margin of error is half of that width. And this gives us an interval within which we're reasonably confident the truth might be. Now, does this mean that the true percentage of Trump supporters is truly between 30 and 50%? Not necessarily. If Stacy were to go out and do another poll of another set of 100 Republican friends of hers, she might see something slightly different. It's this difference from sample to sample that we call sampling variability. What exactly is sampling variability? The best way to show that is with a simulation. And I simulated a data set of 10,000 Republicans. Not real Republicans, mainly just a bunch of ones and zeros that I put into a big electronic data set. I put 4,000 of them into the Trump camp, and I put the rest of them into the anti-Trump camp. And what I did is I took a random sample of 100 Republicans from this set, and I calculated the percent who support Trump along with that confidence interval. Then I did this again. I took another 100 people from this data set, calculate the percentage and the confidence interval. I did this 20 different times with my imaginary data set of Republicans. Now this fancy plot is showing the results from this simulation. What we see here, each horizontal line is showing a confidence interval from each sample that I took. Remember, I did this 20 different times. And we can see that the dot in the middle is our estimate of the Trump supporters. And you can see how it jumps around from sample to sample, just randomly, because I'm picking random samples, right? And I can also see on my plot, this red line is indicating where the truth is. And I know what the truth is in this situation because I created the data set. I know that 40% of the Republicans in my data set support Trump. And you can see most of the time my interval captures the truth and sometimes it doesn't, right? And one really nice property of confidence intervals that's interesting if you're a statistician, or maybe if you're a Toastmaster, is that approximately 95% of the time, your confidence interval is going to capture the truth. And about 5% of the time, you're going to miss it, like in this situation right here. 1 out of 20, which is 5%. Now, the sample size is a huge influencer on the margin of error. The more people you ask, the tighter your margin of error will be, and the more precisely you'll be able to estimate what you're trying to estimate. On the other hand, if you have a ginormous sample and it's flawed in some way, and that it's not random or it's not representative of the population of interest, that estimate is totally useless. And you want to know how the sample was selected. How are the people selected? Did people self-select or volunteer for the poll or the survey? Was it a telephone poll where they used random digit dialing, which may be preferred? And this may be a surprise to you, but not everybody likes to respond to surveys. How many of us have ignored a phone call from a poller or ignored a survey in the mail? I have, and I work for the Survey Research Center, so it's pretty significant. And do the responders differ from the non-responders? Oftentimes they do, and it's important to keep this in mind when we're thinking of the results. Finally, you want to consider the source of the poll. The results from a Fox News poll may be very different from the results from Huffington Post, for example. In summary, the margin of error tells us about the sampling variability, which we all know about now, sample-to-sample variation. The validity of the margin of error kind of goes out the window if the study is flawed in some way, if it's not random or biased in some manner. 3, always consider the source of the data. It's actually quite hard to have a flawless study. And 4, vote.
While Sarah wraps up, could I ask for a minute for evaluation? Segment for the guests is kind of meant to help assist our evaluators for the speakers to continue on and to fill out their paperwork, as well as give the members that have no roles today that have shown up to support their fellows to experience some impromptu speaking. And to lead that effort, I would like to introduce Derek.
Recently, as part of the CrossFit program that I joined, I've been learning how to do some of the Olympic weight lifts. And what my coaches have taught me is that every time you're approaching this heavy barbell, you should come up with a ritual. And the purpose of this is to kind of baseline your thoughts in order to recreate the same lift every time. Similar to how a basketball player does a free throw. This got me to thinking about rituals that I have in other parts of my life. So what came to mind was before a Toastmasters speech or a meeting with a presentation or an interview, I like to go find a private bathroom at the clinic with a full-length mirror and dance as goofy as I can. Usually taking inspiration from like Beyonce or Britney Spears. So my topic today is, do any of you have any rituals that you guys do maybe before a speech or maybe getting up in the morning or before something significant in order to kind of get your mind in the right place that it needs to be?
I know there's like a power pose that somebody talked about, so I have like tried that sometimes where you're just supposed to just kind of like stand and be like feeling really strong and confident in the mirror. I don't know if it's like worked a lot, but it's kind of hard. Or just like kind of yoga breathing, or you know, looking at the phone too long in the morning before waking up and getting late to work. So kind of good and bad rituals.
Yeah, that's great.
Would you like to? All right.
Is it topic master, having been to some of these competitions, Toastmaster competitions, I have developed ritual myself, but more important, I have watched what other people do, and that's very interesting. Some of the state level competition which I have gone, which is the District 6 competition, the last humor competition, we were 10 of us. They called us at 6:30 to draw lots where we are. So I found out I was number 2, and the number 1 person said, "Oh, I don't want to. Will anybody exchange?" And somebody exchanged, and number 4 person wanted to go number 1 speaker. But then you're given about an hour or so before the speech contest, right? So I've developed this thinking of what ritual. So I listen to some of this music, like from Tom Cruise's, what is that famous movie?
Top Gun.
Pardon?
Top Gun.
Mission Impossible?
Mission Impossible. The speech makers, they just listen to ding, 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 ding. You know, so I'm okay, man, it's getting too much because I've heard 5 times. Then I go drink of water, and of course the bathroom is of course there. But then I saw a lady, she's a yoga master. She started doing rituals like this. From there. She's psyching me out. And the other person's ritual was to psych you out. So they said, you know, I've done competent communicating manual 10 times. Or 10 months. Anytime somebody doesn't show up, I give the speech. I said, this is a psych out ritual. Other person started doing push-ups and kind of things. But there was one lady who was like eyes closed and then just like you said. Like that. So like, should I push her or should I not push her? Don't worry, man, it's not that bad. But there was the famous ritual which I saw was getting to the corner, lighting up a cigarette. So there is no ritual. Whatever ritual makes you happy, do it. But I think you got to have a ritual because you feel good that you followed a ritual. So it's all about-
Thank you. Rituals are good, and one form that our club follows is an agenda. When you don't forget things, they are quite handy. Next up is our general evaluator to lead our evaluation portion of the meeting. Please welcome Abby.
Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome our guests. To benefit our guests, I want to explain a little bit about what the general evaluator and the evaluation team does. So today I will come up after the team has talked and kind of give my overview of the entire meeting, and I'll introduce all of the evaluators on the evaluation team. So first we're going to bring up Tigante, and he is going to evaluate Amit's speech.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests, and especially Amit. The evaluation guide for vocal variety. The speaker is to use a voice that is pleasing to listen to with proper balance of volume, pitch, and rate, and use pauses to enhance his or her message. The speaker's voice should reflect and add meaning to the thoughts he or she is presenting. The speaker is to incorporate lessons learned in previous projects about purpose, organization, word usage, and body language. In addition to your verbal evaluation, please complete this evaluation form by checking the appropriate space for each category. So I have this list with the quality over here and then different ratings. The first one is topic selection, and it's facilitated vocal variety. The topic you chose really brought the evaluation of this vocal variety feature of the speech up front. Volume, excellent. Everybody could listen to Amit. Rate, excellent. Pitch, your pitch was very good. Quality, so even though Amit gave a lot of supercilious looks to convey his points, he was very pleasant. So your quality was very pleasant and friendly. Pauses, appropriate and effective. Expressiveness, conveyed emotion and meaning. Vocal variety, enhanced speech. Organization, logical flow of ideas. Word usage, vivid,
descriptive and accurate. I really like the words you chose, like somebody spanked you with callous. I don't think you used the word spank, but that word came to my mind. Word usage, vivid, I said that. Body language, you showed so much of body language, I can't even imagine. I don't think I have seen any speaker with so much gestures to convey points. They were very nice. What could the speaker have done differently to make the speech more effective? I couldn't find any shortcoming in your speech. It was perfect. What did you like about the speech? I liked every second of your speech. I really enjoyed the speech. It was captivating. I'm like, I have to fill this form, but I have to like struggle between listening to your speech and actually putting things down here. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Our second evaluator will be coming up, Stacy, to evaluate their assessment.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters and Specialists, Sarah. I have to admit, I read the title of the speech, I saw the exclamation mark, and I was skeptical. That, in fact, privately in my own office, I made a supercilious look. That math could be made fun. But, as always, Sarah has more than lived up to her expectations. I thought she did an excellent job of using humor scattered throughout the speech to keep it interesting. But using the humor did not in any way, I felt, detract from her knowledgeability, the projection of knowledgeability. I liked to see the interaction that she had with the audience. At least 2 times I noticed that she asked a question and waited to see how much of the audience was raising their hand and responding to them, to the results that she found. I liked the relevant example that she used and the fictional data set that was very easy to understand. Math is not my strong point, but 60,000, 40,000, I could follow that. So I really appreciated that she made up a data set and then used random samples from it and not used a real life example, which it would have just gone right over my head. If there is one note that I have that may have enhanced the speech some, I happen to know that Sarah is a master's level statistician and she works in the Survey Research Center and does statistics every day. She didn't mention that to us. I think it could have boosted the credentials if she would have mentioned that to us. Overall, I thought she had a very interesting way of presenting what could have been a very dull subject. And she had, as always does, I should say, very poised, confident, and funny delivery. And she also has, I think, a way of bringing a sense of calm and peace to the presentations that she gives. Thank you, Sarah.
Now I would like to bring our wonderful grammarian to talk about supercilious.
Hello again, Toastmasters, Madam General Evaluator, and our guests. So the word of the day, again, supercilious, used wonderfully throughout the entire meeting. Anya used it twice, Chris used it once, Ahmed, along with many other things, used it once. Degante used it once, and Stacey used it once. Absolutely fabulous. In regards to Ahmed's speech, there were tremendous pictures that you painted with words and fabulous phrases that you used. One that I'm still laughing about thinking is your distinguished belly, which I had such a hard time seeing at all. The cloudy waters of Mayo Clinic, I personally have never experienced that. I loved when you said malleable and flexible, and that reminded me of everyday life, whether I need to flex my coffee break time or perhaps a few more important things. And I love the get in line picture.
Yeah.
Listen to 4-year-olds when they know what they're listening to. Sarah, as mathy as it gets, love it. Mathy is where I'm at when it comes to math. One thing thing I love, you had a lot of new terms and a lot of technical terms, but the way you presented them, because you were so calm, they were not overwhelming in the least. I was absolutely able to follow the picture that you painted. Derek, when your table topics, there were minimal use of ums and ahs, and I think I counted some during the evaluations, but other than that, this was a very filler-free Toastmasters meeting, so wonderful job. Thank you so much. And then we'll bring our timer Tanya up to give her report.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and our welcome guests, we did great on time. Nobody went over by more than 30 seconds, which is the traditional way we would get the buzz, so nobody got the buzzer. Joe Sharp gave us his speech, and it was 1 minute and 28 seconds, and I loved it. I want to go tell that joke everywhere I go. It was fantastic. And Amit's speech was 7 minutes and 23 seconds, and I went to the Park Karate Studio once many years ago when I first joined, and I sweat so profusely that first time, like it was like a faucet. I'm like, I couldn't go back, so I was embarrassed that I left a trail of water in it. So that's really good. I'm not good at that. And Sarah Jenkins, your speech 6 minutes and 57 seconds. And and then we have our wonderful guest. You gave us our impromptu table topic from your seat. That was so sweet. It was 30 seconds. It was very good. I timed you. Good job. And then Amit, you also came up for 2 minutes and 6 seconds on your table topics. And then Evaluator DeGanta, 2 minutes and 46 seconds, under the 3 minutes. And Stacy, there you go, 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So we did great on time. Congratulations, everyone. Good job.
For my evaluation of the overall meeting, there's a few criteria that I go through, but the first thing I want to talk about is the humor and the fun today. My cheeks hurt from grinning and laughing today because every role that has come up has brought humor to this meeting today, and I really appreciate it. We started a little bit late, but Chris helped us move along with the agenda and the transitions between roles as speakers. Everyone helped out. If there was a different segment, you kind of helped the next person along, or transitions were really smooth, so I appreciate that as well. Welcoming our new members and guests at the beginning of the meeting, kudos to the Toastmaster and also another guest speaker. Business ran smooth, the introductions and the handoffs were perfect, table topics were appropriate, we even made guests feel welcome enough to have an impromptu, so I appreciate that, and you're very, very confident, so you should join Toastmasters. And very appropriate topics, because people were willing to just start talking, so appreciate that. And then general overall, people were also bringing impromptu into every segment of the meeting, from Amit's speech where he listened to the people that were introducing themselves, the guests, to find out where their work areas were, and he worked that into his speech. Yeah. Sarah bringing up an amazing simplified presentation to explain your statistics to us is amazing. That skill of simplifying it and presenting it, engaging the audience in something that they would not normally want to pay attention to.
Interesting.
Again, humor and unexpected impromptus, what strength we all have and how much we are growing. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much, Abby. We still have plenty of time to keep everybody informed. John, you are the chair for our contest this upcoming Wednesday. Is there anything that you would like to bring forward to the rest of the meeting?
If anyone would like to compete in the competition, the international speakers have to have completed 6 speeches, and table topics just be a member. I messed up, I would need more coffee when I sent the original email. It's March 17th for the area competitions at Charter House, not whatever date I put in.
Yes, there is a PDF attached with that email he sent out. It is at the Charter House, which is on the north end of the downtown campus. And think so far, I think there's just Amit and I for the international speech contest. To clarify the table topics, everybody will get the same question. We will draw lots, just like Amit does when he's fighting elementary schoolers. And the other people will be waiting outside so that they don't get to hear the question. It will be fresh for everybody. Again, if you are wanting to learn to think on your feet and you think you're good at it, we welcome you to come and try. It is a lot of fun. We need everybody else there as well to fill roles with judging, with counting the ballots, with timers and crowd control. We need, if we have a lot of table topic, we have to keep that unruly bunch calm and undisturbing out in the hallway. With that being said, we are still working on our March schedule so that it will be brought up as quickly as possible. But we are assigning the timers and evaluator roles. And I think the following meeting is going to be a strictly table topics meeting, if I'm not mistaken. It is either going to be the 9th or the 14th, I can't remember. So that is going to be an opportunity for the winners of the speech contest to practice their speech again for the area contest, but then the rest of us can have some fun and get a lot of table topics in, and the rules for that day will also follow. Is there any other announcements from any other? That will be posted. I think Deanna has taken on some new roles. She has taken on additional workload. Stacy Johnson will be assisting, and I think is going to transition into that role for the remainder of the year. So that is part of our resolution for that issue. Any other comments that our area director would like to give us?
Wonderful job. It was great to be back. You all do such a superb job. Really appreciate your leadership, Chris, and Stacy, thank you for taking over for Deanna. That's a heavy position to take on, so I appreciate you doing that. Thank you.
And with that, I will close by inviting you to grab a cupcake on the way out, and thank you very much for guests for coming and participating. Hope to see you all again. Brent, good to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
And thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Good job. Norwegian?
Yes.
My great grandmother was Norwegian, and one of my favorite phrases from her was. So it was very hard for me to. No, it probably.
I was limping.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I borrowed this pen from somebody, from the lady who was here.
Oh, it's probably here. Thank you. We have extras in there, so.
Okay, and the cap is there, I guess.
Okay.